Welcome back to another episode of the Ball Oasis Show. Yeah, we're about a month into the NBA season now, and I would say now is a better time than ever to really give an assessment to some of the teams that we've seen so far that are up around the top. So this episode today is essentially going to be our top 10 teams for the beginning of the season through the first month of the season, how these teams have impressed us. We've got some stats here with these teams. We'll have a little monologue with some of them, and yeah, this is like I said, we're about a month into the season, so we've got a pretty fair sample size at this point. Obviously, it's still very, very early on, and a lot can change. As most teams can only play between 12 and 15 games, somewhere in that range. But we've really gotten a good picture of what a lot of teams should look like going into the season. Jacob, do you think throughout these first 2, 3 weeks, do you think that we've been able to see what most teams will look like?
Yeah, I think we have an idea of most teams, but I think it would be very different. Probably, or the I know my list will be. It'd be very different in a few weeks, in my opinion, because some teams have started off slow, and I think they'll heat up eventually. Or some teams that have started off hot, will eventually fall off.
Right. I can speak for me. I can probably speak for Jacob as well. Teams like the Golden State Warriors and the Miami Heat are not going to make this list just because of the awful starts that they've gotten off to. So, yeah, you may see some teams in here today that might raise some eyebrows, but they're that nice. They've gotten off to a good start, and maybe it's something that doesn't hold up. But as for now, they're here. So I think we should start today with a couple of honorable mentions before we get into the top 10. Jacob, do you have any honorable mentions that would just miss the cut for this list?
My honorable mentions were the New Orleans Pelicans and the Washington Wizards.
Hmm. Okay, funny enough, my honorable mentions, I didn't have either of those. I have two as well. But my honorable mentions were the Toronto Raptors and the Los Angeles Clippers. Those are my two honorable mentions.
Yeah, I kind of flirted with the Clippers. I almost put the Clippers over the Wizards, but I just kind of gave them the slight push, I guess.
Yeah, and these are teams early on in the season that have hovered around 500, teams that have had some good moments and definitely had some bad ones as well. Um, yeah, those teams just missed the cut, and a lot of those teams are teams that we predict to trend in an upward direction as the season goes on, like the Clippers and the Pelicans and probably even the Raptors as well. But yeah, as for now, they just missed the cut, and I know a lot of those teams have dealt with injuries and whatnot. But Jacob, let's go ahead and let's get right into this list. Start us out with your number 10.
My number 10, I have the Dallas Mavericks. Um, they have I don't know, they're good on offense and defense. They're top 10 in both offense and defensive rating.
Mm-hmm.
Luca, MVP favorite, I think, right now, or, top three. But I don't know. I guess they surrounded him good with shooters, but they rely on him a lot, or I would probably have him higher. But uh, it, I can't think of it. Spencer Dinwiddie has really impressed me lately.
Yeah.
Besides Luca, I think he's like the standout for me on Dallas.
Yeah. At number 10, I have the Dallas Mavericks as well. Just to add on to what you said, Dallas Mavericks have the eighth ranked offense, the ninth ranked defense. They're getting to the free throw line the second most out of any team in the NBA so far this season. So they're really attacking the paint, especially Luca with his drives. We know how much attention he he gets. And then their shooting. Their shooting is kind of what's they come into the night with a record of 7-5. Their
Yeah.
shooting has kind of been what's kind of kept them maybe not to reaching their fullest potential here early in the season. They're 18th in 3-point shooting. And we know with all of the attention, like we said, that Luca gets, that they're going to get open shots from guys
Yeah.
out of the corner like Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie and Tim Hardaway Jr. And lately, they've been knocking them down more than they were at the start of the season. But they can definitely improve in the 3-point shooting department. And I think that's where we saw them at their best last year, where
Hmm.
they were knocking down those shots. And like you said, with Luca creating and bringing all the attention that he has, um, those guys have to step up for that team to have the success that they want. But as for now, the Mavericks have still looked good. I think they've been okay enough on defense. They've been
Yeah.
serviceable. We know that they're going to score a lot of points. Like you said, Luka's top 2 in MVP, and I fully expect him to stay there as the season goes on. So, yeah, the Mavericks at 10 sounds about right here early on. Yeah, I like the Mavericks at 10. They've
Yeah.
been good, but haven't necessarily been great.
Yeah, I think they'll get a lot better when time goes on.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get into my number 9. At number 9 for me, I've got the Atlanta Hawks at number 9. I've got the Hawks. Some numbers on the Hawks so far this season. They're 8-5. They came into tonight with a record of 8-5, but they beat the Milwaukee Bucks tonight, actually. So
Yeah.
they're now 9-5. They came into the night with the 14th ranked offense, the 12th ranked defense. They're 4th in total rebounding, which is a big number for the Hawks because we know um, what their guards are going to do. We know the volume of shots they're going to take. But on the offensive glass, Clint Capella has been really good here early in the season. He's been a really, really good player for them. And John Collins hasn't been great, so maybe he can, continue to step it up. And they're the 3rd in fewest turnovers, which I kind of thought might be a problem with them, with as much as Trae Young and DeJounte Murray look to, play make. I thought the turnovers might be a bigger problem, but to see them 3rd least, that's a really good start for the Atlanta Hawks so far early this season. And we've seen them win some big games. I think this is their 2nd win against the Milwaukee Bucks already this
Yeah,
season.
yeah, it is, I think.
Yeah, they beat your 76ers. I know they beat who else did they beat? I think they beat I don't think they beat the Celtics. They might have beat I don't even know. But they beat some of the top teams in the Eastern Conference and they look solid. They look pretty solid here early on to start the season. I've liked what I've seen from the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, I also had to land at number 9. Like you said, Clint Capella, I've watched him. Well, we played him like I think it was a back-to-back. Not a back-to-back, but we played him, 2 games in a row. I want to say he had like 15 plus rebounds in each game.
Yeah.
I think another thing is I think they've either get fouled the least or they foul the least. One of those. Like I think they're they don't shoot as many free throws a game, and they also don't allow as many free throws a game.
Yeah.
Or that was the other night, but
that's something. I'll interrupt you real fast. That's something I have seen with Trae Young that's been a gripe with some of the Hawks fans is that he's not getting to the free throw line enough. And I think that's something that would just come with time. He's continuing to adjust to the new foul rules, maybe. But Trae Young is going to get to the free throw line. Carry on with what you're saying.
Yeah, but like you said, they've been playing really well lately. But like I said, 2 wins against the Bucks. I think 2 of the 3 losses. I think, but I still think they'll get better. Well, actually, I take that back. I think they'll get better, but I think other teams will get better. So I can see them kind of falling off a little. But I think I had them as my 7th or 8th seed, but they might sneak up into top 7 or 6.
Yeah. And I mean, so far this season, they haven't even had Bogdan Bogdanovic yet. Some of their guys off the bench have really stepped up, like Justin Holiday. Justin Holiday has shot the peel off the ball here early on in the season. I know AJ Griffin stepped up and has given them a good game or two. That's good to see from the young rookie. Yeka Okongwu has kind of had that impact that we thought he would coming into the season. He's played some clutch time minutes and he's been a really good player for them here early in the season. I like a lot of what I've seen from the Atlanta Hawks. I think that they'll be a team that will definitely be there come playoff time. And it'll be interesting to see who they match up against.
Yeah, I think, like you said, AJ Griffin, I don't know, he surprised me I thought he'd be good as a rookie, but he's kind of exceeded my expectations. I don't think I mentioned him at all, but when we talked about rookies.
Yeah, coming into the draft, AJ Griffin was a projected top 7 pick. In a lot of the mock boards, AJ Griffin was supposed to go a lot higher than he did, falling to the Hawks at 16. So coming out of Duke, AJ Griffin was a prospect I really liked. We know he could shoot the ball, but we've seen him even create off the dribble some. Yeah. And I think that that's been a really good improvement to his game here early on in his career.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Give us your number 8, Jacob.
Oh, my number 8, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay.
I wish I had them higher, but they're, I think, the 3rd best offense and the 4th best defense. I wish I had them higher, but they on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah.
So that's the reason it kind of dropped for me. I know they were missing against Minnesota last night. They missed, I think.
Donovan Mitchell was out, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen, neither of them played. Darius Garland had him a game though. He had 51, but I don't know. I like what I've seen from them. It's just this cold stretch. I guess they need to get out of it. Um, like you said this year, or like we've said before this year, I think every game in the East matters
Hmm.
because of how deep the East is, as we've kind of seen. But I think they're, like you said, the offense. Donovan Mitchell's taken over games multiple times. Even Garland. Like I think we questioned how they would fit, defensively, but their offense is just that good that defense. I mean, they need to worry about, but it's not as big as a problem as we thought, or as I thought.
Yeah. This is where we differentiate a little bit. At number 8, unfortunately, I know that this has been kind of the team that's drawn a lot of eyes early on. The Utah Jazz come in at my number 8, and I know that they're on a 2-game losing streak. They've lost to the Wizards, and who else? They lost to somebody else either a night or two ago.
Us yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. They lost to Philly because Joel went nuclear.
Yep.
The Jazz coming into tonight have the 4th-ranked offense still, which is incredible for them. They have the 8th-ranked defense somehow. They're 5th in assists. We know how well they've moved the ball early on. Mike Conley's been a great job initiating along with Colin Sexton. And they are on a little losing streak, but they're undefeated at home. They're on a little road stretch right now, but so far they have not lost a game at home. So the home fans must be bringing it, and they must really like to play in front of them. But last episode I said watch the Utah Jazz, and I know the first game they played after I gave that sentiment. They looked really, really good. I think they beat the Lakers by like 25 points or something. I think that was the following game. But the Utah Jazz have been good. They've just lost a little bit lately. And it is a thing with them, as sad as it is to say, how long can they keep this up? Because right now they have the 8th-ranked defense. And I just look at the makeup of their team, guys, especially on the interior. Larry Markkinen, Kelly Olynyk, the rookie Walker Kessler has been really good for them so far. He's given them good minutes off the bench. But I don't know. I don't believe in it long term. I think the teams are going to be able to really have their way inside like Joel did last night. So I expect their defensive numbers to go down. And I mean, their offensive numbers will probably go down too from 4th, which is an insane start to the season. I know they shot the 3 ball pretty well. But like I said, they've been fun to watch, and they're a team who might be there still come playoff time. Despite everything I've said, I at this point I think that this team is a play-in team.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they'll have a little losing stretch, maybe even the one that we see them on right now. But the Utah Jazz will probably be there come play-in time.
Yeah, I agree. I'll touch on it more when I get to them, but I definitely think I think they still could be in the play-in, even if they sell. But
yeah, I'll go ahead and give my number 7 since you already talked about them a little bit. The Cleveland Cavaliers are my number 7, coming into the night with a record of 8-5. They've lost 4 games in a row. They had a little West Coast road stretch where they were up on the Clippers by like 13 points with like 3 minutes left to go in a game, and the Clippers go on like a 16-2 run to close the game and beat them. And that kind of just started the chain reaction. They lose to the Sacramento Kings, which is never a good loss. They lose to the Warriors, and then they lose last night to Minnesota, albeit they were missing some guys. But yeah, the Cavs are on a little bit of a losing stretch. But even despite that, like you said, they're still 3rd in offense, 4th in defense. So their numbers still look really good. They're still 2nd in 3-point shooting as well. They're still knocking down a good bit of their shots. And I didn't even know this until I looked last night. Darius Garland is struggling. Darius Garland is actually struggling from the field. He's only shooting like 35% from the field and only like 30% from 3, which is weird because I feel like in every game I've watched him play, he's had a heater. He's had a heater going. But the Cavs have looked good. Their 8-man rotation that they have, bringing guys off the bench like Dean Wade and Kevin Love, and Cedi Osman, along with their starting lineup, which might be the best in basketball, has just been really good to start the season. And I think that they'll get off this losing streak within the near future. And this is a team that, like the Atlanta Hawks, it'll be interesting to see who they match up against because they present some real problems, especially if they're clicking on offense like they have been early on this season.
Yeah, I agree. So my number 7, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. They're 9-5, better than I thought they'd be, honestly. They're 10th in offense, but 21st in defense. And I think there's a saying Jaren Jackson might be back tomorrow
Yeah, which
against,
is crazy.
which that'll improve their defense significantly. But John Bain, I think I saw it earlier. They're top three in duos, scoring duos.
Yeah.
I think number one probably the backcourts. But they've been playing really well. Jaws, he had MVP numbers, beginning of the year, still putting them up. Desmond Bain's been having his great nights. I don't know. I guess I got him here just because I guess they're record wise and defense, but I don't know. I think they'll improve, especially with Jaren Jackson, if he can come back and bring what we expect him to bring. I guess after he probably restricted some coming back.
Right.
So he's back in fully healthy or fully get going. Their defense will significantly improve, and they're more than I had them very low, but they're more than likely still be at the top of the West by the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I like a lot of what I've seen from the Grizzlies. I'll touch more on them whenever I get to them. Go ahead and give me your number 6 as well, Jacob, before I get to mine.
My number 6, I have the Denver Nuggets. We're 9-4. I've watched a few Denver games this year. They're second in offense, 22nd in defense. I guess Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. have looked great. I'm not gonna say great, but they've looked good. Great some nights.
Yeah.
Jokic is gonna do his things even when he struggles. I mean, I guess the guys around him, make up for it. But I don't know. I guess they're still trying to get into the groove of it. I guess. I can't remember the stat, but I think Michael Porter Jr. is shooting the three ball really well.
Yeah, he's up over 40%, I believe.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be too worried. I'm not, too worried. It's still early, but I still think they're, contenders in the West and can finish. I believe we both had them pretty high in the standings. They just click really well, I guess. Off the bench, Bones Highland, he'll have his nights off the bench if he's not, cold from the games I've seen. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just like how their team, I guess, how everybody's built around. Jokic can kind of, runs the offense, or Murray. So it just flows really well, I guess. Their whole, second in offense, their offense just flows really well from what I've seen.
Yeah, the Nuggets, like I said in the last episode, they kind of concerned me at the start of the season. I think they had a really good week this past week.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think Michael Porter Jr. has played well in the last couple of games. He's been shooting the ball well and looking to get back to form. I'll touch a little more on them when I get to them as well. But unfortunately for me at number 6, I'm not going to drink too much of the Kool-Aid yet. I've got the Portland Trailblazers at number 6. 16th ranked offense so far this season with the 6th ranked defense. That's the number that sticks out to me with Portland because over the past, in really the Dame era, they've never been a top half of the league defensively. They've never been in the top half defensively. I think their highest finish has been like 17th. With the 6th ranked defense, I don't expect them to stay in the top 10. I expect them to kind of fall in between that 10 and 20 range.
Yeah.
But so far, the defense is what's won them a lot of games.
And that's still up Gary Payton II, too.
Yeah, Gary Payton II should come back sometime this week. His timetable puts him back around probably the end of this week. I know I said that like 2 weeks ago. It keeps getting moved back. GP2, come back. We miss you, man. But yeah, this team is really locked down, and it's really been the fourth quarter. The fourth quarters have been really good for the Portland Trailblazers defensively and offensively. I know their net rating in the fourth quarters is like the highest of all time by far so far to start the season. So far this season, they're also top 5 in three-point shooting. We know with the snipers they've got like Dame and Anthony Simons. Jeremy Grant has shot the ball really well. He's shooting about 40% from 3. And Josh Hart is up around there as well. Shaedon Sharpe also shoots about 44% from 3, albeit on limited attempts. And this is also a team who attacks the paint. They're third in free throw attempts so far on this young season. And they really do a good job of getting to the line. Like the sentiment that I've given so far this season, it still stands. I really like what I've seen from this team, just coming off of a 6-game road trip where they go 4-2. Missing a lot of their guys in some of those games, winning against good teams like the New Orleans Pelicans and the Miami Heat
Yeah.
and the Phoenix Suns. These are huge wins for a young Blazers team who's still trying to mesh with a lot of moving pieces. But Chauncey Billups has those guys playing really, really well. And like I said, I'm not going to drink too much of the Kool-Aid because I do kind of expect them to have a little bit of a fall off maybe. But this is a team that will be there come playoff time, albeit maybe around the 6-7 seed. But I mean, that's higher than we anticipated coming into the season, so I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah.
But I really liked what I've seen. Jeremy Grant has been sensational lately, and they've just got a lot of good pieces on that team. I really like what I've seen from the young Blazers.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I'll touch on them when I get to them. I had them a little further up.
Still the first place Blazers, by the way. Still first. Probably won't be this time next week, but as for now, still first place.
Yeah. These one of our teams doing good.
Hey, you'll get there. You'll get there one day. You're are you on your 6 or 5 now?
5.
I'll go ahead and give my 5 since you've already touched on them. The Memphis Grizzlies are my number 5. Like you said, they have a record of 9-5. 10th ranked offense, 21st ranked defense. The Grizzlies with Steven Adams. Steven Adams has been really good so far on the interior. He's been able to stay on the floor. He's led the Grizzlies to second in rebounding. They're the second best rebounding team in the league. And they are first and second chance points. I believe they were first and second chance points last year, but that's what Steven Adams is going to do as long as he's in the interior. Get offensive rebounds and get putbacks. But like you said with Ja Morant and Desmond Bane, those guys are both all-stars. We knew coming into the season Ja would be an all-star, but Desmond Bane has legitimately been playing at an all-star level, shooting the ball up over 40% from 3 again. And that is a top 3 backcourt in the league. It's a solidified top 3 backcourt in the league. I think the only one that's rivaling them right now for the top spot is Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, honestly. I think that those 2 backcourts are neck and neck for first in the league right now. But the Grizzlies have been really fun. We knew that they would come in and play fast. And they've had moving pieces as well. They've had to plug in some rookies and young guys like Santi Aldama and John Conchar has come in and played solid for them. But that just seems to be the Grizzlies' way. They plug and play guys, and they've been able to suffice enough defensively. They've been better defensively over the past week or so.
Yeah.
And the reports that we see with Jaren Jackson Jr., his return possibly being a lot sooner than we thought. I didn't expect him to come back until like January.
Yeah.
So to see,
yeah.
Yes. So to see that he's already very close to returning is very, very good news for the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think that they'll finish as a top 5 seed in the Western Conference. I think that's a lock at this point.
Yeah, like I said, it's still early, but I see them just still going up. They're gonna stay at that top half. So like I said, when Jaren Jackson's back, it'll be a lot better. Like I said, Desmond Bane, I kind of touched on him, but he kind of struggled at first, kind of early. Or he had a few cold games. But I don't know, lately it's been, a whole lot better.
Yeah.
So my number 5, I have the Phoenix Suns.
Really?
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of this list will change probably over the next week. They're 8-4. I think they're 5 in offensive rating and 2nd in defense.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some convincing wins, but they've also had wins, like you could say tonight. I didn't base it off of tonight, but they could have won. I believe, was it 2 losses against the Blazers? Was it game winners on 2 losses?
Yeah, they've lost to the Blazers twice.
So, I guess them just closing out games, but they're a lot better than I thought. I mean, I know I had them high, but after the Adelaide 36ers, that game, and I guess the first game of the season, I think did they beat Dallas?
They did.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I was worried, halfway through that game because it was pretty bad, but they came back.
Damian Lee game winner. That's right.
Yeah. I guess Chris Paul isn't playing his best. I think he's only averaging 9 points right now.
Yeah.
But you don't need him to score when you have Devin Booker and other pieces. I guess DeAndre Ayton could be a little bit better, but I guess chemistry is not as bad as I thought it'd be coming in to the season. So I guess they've surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, the Suns have looked like the regular season Suns. I think I said that in the last episode.
Yeah.
They've put up the numbers and they've been solid. We know that their core is going to carry them to at least a high playoff seed. Um, Past that point, it's kind of yet to be determined what they're going to look like. But yeah, the Suns have looked as advertised. I'll get a little more into them whenever I get to them because I do have them a little bit higher than 5.
Yeah. I
Go
will
ahead.
say,
Well, I'll go ahead. No, you go ahead and say what you're saying, then I'll give you my 4.
I'll say Cam Johnson being out might hurt them some.
Yeah.
I think it's still indefinitely, or I haven't heard any news about it. So I think that could make them fall a little bit. That's all I'm say.
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt you, by the way. But the Phoenix Suns are my number 4 as well. I mean, they're my number 4. I know that I was kind of harping on you for having them low at 5, but I only have them one spot higher at 4. They're 8-5 now, and I think that I would have had them a little bit higher on this list if I didn't watch their game against the Orlando Magic, where they lost to the Magic and didn't really look good at all. And I know that every team is going to suffer a stinker like that at some point in the season, but I think just seeing it a little early on for the Suns maybe move them down and maybe influence my pick a little bit. But like you said, they're 5th in offense and they're 2nd in defense. So they're putting up the numbers. They're doing what they do. They're 2nd in plus minus, although being 8-5, and they're 3rd in points off turnovers right now. They're scoring off turnovers. They're not forcing too many, but they're executing whenever they do get those. And we know how good they are in clutch time with Devin Booker, with
Yeah.
Chris Paul, Damian Lee. Damian Lee has given them some big moments late. He shot the ball really well. I think that their bench has been serviceable so far.
Mm.
They've won some good games. They've lost some close games, like tonight, like those 2 games against Portland. And I expect the Suns to continue to trend upward, even being without Cam Johnson and probably still Jay Crowder as well, as we
Yeah,
haven't heard
I didn't even.
that. Maybe he gets moved sooner rather than later, and they can bring someone in to plug into that rotation. But yeah, the Suns have looked good. I think that they are about where we thought they would be and haven't really exceeded expectations, but they haven't underachieved either. So I think 4 is a good spot for the Phoenix Suns in my opinion right now.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I had them high, but then I kind of was worried just at the very beginning. But it's Phoenix; they're going to get a lot of wins.
That means you have the Blazers top 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not mad at it.
I'm going off of strictly
Yeah.
right now. It'll change.
First in the West.
Oh, so my number 4, my number 4. I have the Utah Jazz.
Okay.
They're 10-5. I think
10-5.
counting last night. Like you said, 4th in offense, 8th in defense. Even Joel's, historic game last night, they still barely won. Or we still barely won. But they're just decent. I think we've said it on here before. Everyone's decent. Like there's no like I guess superstar or star that just has the ball, the whole game. They spread the ball around a lot. Except Lauri Markkanen, he's, probably the MIP front runner right now.
I would say so.
He's been really good. Colin Sexton, has been great. Trying to think. But like they're my number 4. That's gonna change. And if not this week, definitely next week or the week after. But I still think, like I said, they're being the play-in. Yeah, I think I'm putting more trust in Utah than the Lakers. So I probably put them in the play-in.
Smart man.
Yeah, so I'll put them in the play-in. Even if they sell at the trade deadline, which I don't know if they'll trade Jordan Clarkson, but I feel like they more than likely will if they really want to tank eventually, if they even try to tank. Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley will more than likely get moved, but
At this point, I don't think so. I don't even think so at this point. At least not this season. At least I think they'll play it out for this season. But
I could see somebody going after Mike Conley for a backup point guard. But Jordan Clarkson, I don't know. I feel like, cause I think he's still pretty young, so I feel like they're more than likely to keep him at least, if not this year, most of next year.
Yeah. If anything, they've raised their trade value, so
Yeah.
Utah does have that going for him if they did want to move him. So
Yeah,
can even ride it out as they continue to maybe increase their value. Although I don't see how they can get much better than what they are right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, one more note on Utah. Kind of like you said, it's really anybody on any given night. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. I just think bad. The only downside of that is late in games, not having that go-to guy can be a little detrimental, especially as the season wanes. So I think that might be something that comes back to hurt Utah if they do continue to win games and compete for a playoff spot. But as for right now, their by committee offense is working, and I can't fault it.
Yeah, I think if they still do try to win games, I guess the closer, whatever you want to say, either be Markkanen or Clarkson. But that's have depends on how long they're trying to keep winning games. Like I said, I don't think they're not going to stay on this track 20 and whatever. But I don't know, they're just good right now, I guess.
Yeah, Malik Beasley has been really good for them lately too.
Yeah,
He shot really well.
Yeah, he lit us up the other night. Like we'd be in his face and he'd still go in.
Yeah, he's had a couple of good games in a row. Go ahead and give me your number 3, Jacob.
My number 3, I have.
Know who it is.
Yeah, I got your Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
Like you said, 9-4. I've watched them quite a bit this year. A lot of game winners. I don't know. Jeremy Grant, I guess, is the one that's surprised me some, because I think we talked before the season or at the very beginning that I don't know if it was on here or it's a private thing, but we've said that he might not be that big of a factor.
Yeah.
But he's been really good lately. I want to say I saw it earlier. He's been averaging 20 points, I think, lately.
Mm-hmm. He's up over 20 points this season.
Yeah, and he's had some great moments. I think he had, I don't know what he finished with. I know he had 37 or 33 in the third quarter the other night.
He had 37 against Dallas on Saturday, yeah.
Okay. But I don't know. The ball just goes really well. Dame, we know Dame can take over whenever, but I think he lets Simons take over some too when he's hot, or Jeremy when he's hot. So they're not just force feeding Dame the ball. Whoever's hot, they kind of just feed it to them a little bit and just let them go. Like you said, I don't know. They're more than likely fall off. But like I said, I might have them kind of more in the playoff than I do the play-in going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. And like you said, so far this season, the others have definitely stepped up. And I think that's what's been the most encouraging thing for me to see as a fan of the team. Because in the past, it's been all on Dame. It's been, Dame, please bail us out. We need you to win us this game. And the fact that he's been able to trust his teammates to win games here early on, trust them enough to be able to sit games also as he's recovered from a calf strain, is very telling. It's very telling. And to see that those guys can step up and really play well and beat some good teams without Damian Lillard has been really, really encouraging for me to see. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Justice Winslow. He's continued to play great. He's a great playmaker. Our small ball 5, played great defense. Justice Winslow has revived his career, it seems, in Portland, and I've really enjoyed seeing it. I'm a really big Justice Winslow fan.
Yeah, I've watched him, not closely, but I've noticed a lot of, improvement this year with him. And like you said, I guess Chauncey Billups just got everybody to buy in.
Yep.
Even Nurkic has his games when Dame's not playing. I think he had like 30 one night, which I guess, but yeah, I got him in the playoff right now. Like I said, it might change.
Good energy about that team right now, and I'm loving it. I'm loving watching this team. It's been a lot of fun. My number 3, you had them low. You had them around like 6, I believe. I got the Denver Nuggets at 3. They're my highest ranked team from the Western Conference so far, and technically they have the same record that Portland does at 9-4. I do just believe in them a little more whenever it boils down to it as a team. They have the second-ranked offense so far. I think you mentioned they have the 22nd or 23rd ranked defense. They've shot the ball really, really well, like you said, with Michael Porter Jr. But they, by far, have the highest three-point field goal percentage so far this season. They're shooting up around 43% as a team, which is pretty absurd. They're second in assists. We know they're going to move the ball well with Jokic being the initiator. But I think I'd be remiss if I just didn't mention just the pieces they have. I just love the pieces. And this is a team who's been pretty healthy so far this season, thankfully. Jamal Murray hasn't had really any setbacks. Neither has Michael Porter Jr. so far to a big extent. And KCP has looked solid. Bruce Brown has given them some good games.
Mhm.
I think I said in the last episode, Bones Highland, and like you mentioned, can be that microwave, that six man who comes in and can give you that spark off the bench like a Jordan Poole, like a Jordan Clarkson in the past. Maybe not to that extent yet, but he's well on his way. And my only issue with them, and I foreshadowed it. You know what I'm gonna
Before you
say.
say that, my issue with them too is I know how it is. They're backup center.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched the play the other day against Boston.
Yeah, that was so bad.
That told me all I needed to know. As the only minutes I saw from this year, that's all I needed to know.
Yeah, if you're not in the loop, DeAndre Jordan is the backup center for the Denver Nuggets. There was a play that we were mentioning the other night against Boston where he essentially gave up 3 offensive rebounds to Peyton Pritchard. And Derek White.
I know we didn't have this show last year, but he was a skeleton last year, and I said it all last year, and I hated having him on the team.
Yeah, Jacob in the playoffs last year, he was going through it, seeing that DeAndre Jordan was going to be getting minutes on his Sixers team, and seeing what I'm seeing now, I feel very sorry for him because DeAndre Jordan is the only complaint that I have with this Denver Nuggets team right now. It's a pretty big complaint though, and maybe it can be a thing in the playoffs where Jokic just plays 40 minutes a game. I don't know, or they haven't even given Zeke Naji any run, really. And I thought that would be a thing. I thought Zeke Naji would be the guy they plug and play there, maybe run a small ball lineup. But, yeah, DeAndre Jordan is the only downside to the Denver Nuggets for me right now.
If he's there in the playoffs and not in retirement or something, if he gets over 6 minutes in the playoffs, it's not going to be good.
Yeah, just go steal Dwight Howard from Taiwan.
Yeah.
Trade with the Taiwan basketball team. Trade them DeAndre Jordan because Dwight Howard could come in and at least give you rebounds and decent interior defense at this point in his career. Yeah. I still don't know why they let go of Boogie because Boogie was serviceable for them last season, and we saw him have some really good games, especially late in the season. But Boogie is unemployed right now, so
free agent.
Yeah. I expect a contending team to pick him up soon. Maybe even Carmelo Anthony, if there's a team who needs bench scoring. But yeah, there's still some guys out on the market who I think that contending teams will go after. But that's my only note with the Denver Nuggets. The only complaint I have.
Big complaint.
Yeah. So our top two, I think our top two are the same. Go ahead and give me your number 2 though, Jacob.
I have Boston Celtics.
I have Boston as well.
Same? Okay.
Yeah.
Boston's 10-3. They're first in offensive rating, which I guess is surprising to me because they're 22nd in defense.
Yeah.
And we saw what they were last year defensively. Tatum's putting up MVP numbers. Jaylen Brown has his nights. Tatum struggles. Jaylen Brown will go off for 30. Marcus Smart has his nights. I guess they're just well-rounded. There still could be some improvement, like on defense. I don't think they'll be 22nd, bottom half, the whole year. I just kind of like it. They've had a good stretch of games, and I think they've lost to, Cleveland twice. I don't know if it was in both of them were overtime. But I just like what I've seen from Boston this year. I think I had them as my 3 seed, and I said they can move out to 4. But the way it's looking right now, they're top 2. I'm not gonna say a top 2 lock, but they're close to it.
Yeah, Boston is my number 2 as well, and we have kind of seen their defense go down. I think the Ime effect has something to do with that, but I don't expect Boston to sit in the bottom third in defense for the entire season. I think they'll make their way back up to at least in between like 10, 15, if not even higher as the season goes on. But the first-ranked offense, they have the first-ranked offense by far. I know as of a few days ago, they were on pace for the best offensive rating in NBA history throughout the season. It was up around like 119, 120. This is a team that shot the ball well. We know, like you said, what Jason Tatum has done early on. Jaylen Brown has been really solid. This is a top 3 This team is top 3 in both field goal percentage and 3-point percentage early on. They get to the free throw line, they make their free throws, and they don't turn the ball over. I think that's kind of the Malcolm Brogdon effect as well. I think that's really the thing that Malcolm Brogdon has contributed to the most is their lack of turnovers. They're second in least turnovers in the NBA right now. So we've even seen guys come off their bench like Sam Hauser. I know Sam Hauser had 24 points off the bench the other night. He's a sniper that can come in and, shoot the ball for them. And we haven't even seen Robert Williams yet. So the insertion of Robert Williams will definitely help their defense.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that alone will move them back up in the top half of the league defensively. But they've been really good so far. I like what I've seen from the Boston Celtics. Maybe we thought that they'd have a little dip losing Coach Ime, but Joe Mazzulla has got those guys playing really well. And they look really, really solid. I flirted with putting them as my number 1, honestly. But they'll sit at my number 2 for now. I like Boston, though.
Yeah, like I said, they could move up to 1. It's still early. Anything could happen. But, yeah, I did too. I almost had them at 1.
Yeah. So, number 1, we both have the Milwaukee Bucks. The numbers on the Bucks, they're have the 23rd ranked offense so far. And I think you can contribute some of that to missing Chris Middleton. You had guys in and out of the lineup. Giannis has missed some games. Drew Holiday's missed some games. Brook Lopez has missed some games. But they've been able to suffice even without that. I know Marjan Beauchamp has come in and started some games for them and been solid. And they have the first-ranked defense, and it's by a wide margin.
Yeah.
We knew they'd be tops in the league or up around it, but by far the Milwaukee Bucks have had the best defense in the league. They're first in rebounding and second in blocks. So anything basically dealing with the paint, the Milwaukee Bucks are the best in the league at that pretty much. And we knew that would be a thing with Giannis and Brook Lopez playing the way that he is. Those guys are probably both top 5 defensive player of the year candidates so far.
Yeah.
It's weird to say with Brook Lopez, who hasn't been seen as a great defensive player in his career, but we know that he's been getting his blocks and he's been a really good rim protector early on. And of course, Giannis is going to be Giannis. He's top 3 defensive player of the year. The Bucks have been solid. I don't really have much to say about them because this is what I expected. I had them as my overwhelming number 1 seed coming into the season, and they've looked like it.
Yeah, I think I had them at 2 or 3, but very wrong for right now. But like you said, Chris Middleton, when he gets back, that offense will shoot up. Well over the top half of the league, I think.
Yeah.
Like you said, I forgot what it was called. I saw a stat today on the Bucks Hawks game. It's something with missing players, and they're like top of the league with guys missing games. I think they're close to it.
Yeah.
And they're still winning games even without Giannis or Drew, like you said. I guess just that team all around is really good. Unless, like tonight, if their 3 points not followed and they keep shooting it, that'll probably be their downfall.
Yeah.
Like you said, Chris Middleton, he'll definitely improve that. And Joe Ingles, if he plays this year. But
How about Joe?
Yeah, I don't even know if he could come back this year or not.
Yeah. The Bucks, I mean, every team's going to have games like that. They've been solid. They have had a little bit of an easy schedule to start the season. That's the one thing I'll say about the Bucks.
Yeah, that was my thing.
But they've won some solid games so far. Shout out Javon Carter, by the way. Javon Carter has been really solid. He had a really good game against the Thunder the other night, who's actually been a really solid team to start the season. But shout out Javon Carter. Put them on his back to win that game.
Yeah. I think he was like you said, 36, but I don't know, the Bucks, they'll stay at the top probably no matter what, as long as there's another major injury.
Yeah. So this is the top 10 about a month through the season. I think this might be a thing that we do once a month just to check back in to see where these teams sit, to see the movements, maybe do like a power rankings type deal. And I enjoy doing this. I think that this is a good idea going forward, just to keep people updated on who's doing well, who's doing well in the league. And yeah, I think we'll do another one of these like a little before Christmas just to check back in. I expect there to be some movement. I expect some teams to get hot, maybe a team like the Clippers maybe a team like your 76ers can get on a win streak and crack the top 10. Maybe the Jazz fall off or the Blazers fall off. And yeah, we'll just we'll keep y'all updated on that. And Jacob, you got anything else to say before we close today? Any notes that you want to bring up?
No, you covered it. Like I said, the list I think will be very different next time around. In my opinion, hopefully, another team's on there, slowly moving up. But I think that's it.
I think I'm gonna. I started last week. I gave homework with the Jazz. I think I'm gonna. If you've watched to this point, shout out to you, by the way. You're a real one for watching this far. But I think I'm gonna give a team of the week like as a homework assignment to watch. So I think my team of the week this week. Who should my team of the week be, Jacob? I don't want to be a homer and say Portland, but
Should have been Philly. Should have been Philly last week when they had a good stretch.
Yeah, I don't want to be a homer and say Portland, but Portland has been really fun. I would say the
Thunder, but I don't know.
Yeah, the Thunder have been good. I feel like we might be a little late on the Thunder.
Yeah.
Let's do the Thunder. Let's do the Thunder.
SGA has been going off.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his agenda for all NBA is through the roof right now. Shout out to my homie Isaac. He's the biggest Shai fan in the world, and just he's been raving about Shai lately. It's warranted because he's on a streak right now where he's scoring over 30 points a game. He's averaging up around 32 points a game so far this season. He's been really, really good. Just to see his career arc, the way it's gone. And I hope that they let him stay on the floor. I know the Thunder is a team who's trying to lose games, but Shai has been really fun. Yesterday, they put up 145 in Madison Square Garden. And that's been a decently fun young team to watch, even without Chet Holmgren so far this season.
Yeah, I've tried to watch a lot of Thunder games because it's, Shai's going to have his games. Josh Giddey's had his games this year too. So it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. So the Thunder is the team of the week. If you can catch a Thunder game or two, they might fall off a little bit after. I mean, the Jazz fell off a little bit after we said watch the Jazz. So hopefully it's not a curse, has a curse effect. But we'll see. Watch the Thunder though. All right. If we ain't got nothing else, I guess we'll go ahead and sign out for now. We'll see y'all next week. Peace out.